everybody. Can you hear me? Is it working? Yeah, okay, thank you. I have apologies from absence from Laurie, who's sunning herself somewhere, but we have Jackie stepping in for it. It's your first time at Cabinet, Jackie, so welcome. You do feel free to comment on anything that we're saying. Can we approve the minutes of the 12th of April? Yeah. Don't think of any announcements, and there's no urgent items. Can I draw your attention to members' declaration of interest, item 5, and then we go on to the key decision reports, the report of the big conversation. The big conversation, as you know, was part of the corporate plan, building a fairer future. However, post the local elections, with that uncertainty behind us, it feels the right time to bring forward an update cabinet on the agreed steps forward. The big conversation is about connecting residents and communities across the district. It's about listening and learning and understanding what is important to people's lives and people's hopes for the future, and it's a different way of connecting with our communities. And so far we've got 80 staff signed up with residents to do the consultation, and we've carried out already 1,200 conversations, and people actually coming up to us now and saying, oh, we had a conversation and we said this and we said that. So it's really working across the district. Just as an update for everyone, but I think we all as elected members signed up for this, and I think the residents are, and I think they feel that, you know, we're listening to what they have to say and what matters to them. But what does matter is when we get all the comments back, that we start to implement things that they're saying. Otherwise they'll think, well, was that a waste of time or what? So this will have to really mean something. When we set out to do this, we were determined that it was real and it did mean something. We've had consultations before, and I think sometimes we perhaps haven't implemented them as well as we could do. So I think this time we must follow through with what people are asking. And so today we're asking for a commitment to support the delivery of the big conversation programme across Wakefield district, building on development and delivery of the programme so far, to agree to commit recurrent funding to deliver the ongoing programme, and to agree the outcomes of the big conversation will be utilised to support the way in which the council works for the future. Can we agree then? I'm sorry, were there any questions? No? Okay. Thank you. And then Matthew, the Doncaster Road improvement.
Thank you, Denise. This is to gain approval to move on to the full outline business case for the Doncaster Road proposals to make it better for pedestrians, bus users, cyclists down that stretch of road. It was quite tortuous. Having conversations with the cycle forum and different other people, these are much needed improvements to that stretch of road. We're also going to improve bus problems down Black Road as well as coming down Eve Common. We know that's been a bottleneck for cars and buses, so it's a really fantastic scheme that will massively improve Doncaster Road for pedestrians, cyclists, all users. So can we agree in 4.1, option 1, please?
Okay, any comments? Oh, sorry, John.
Thanks, Denise. Yeah, just to thank you for bringing this forward, Matthew. I think this is an excellent report and much needed. We know that part of the city is very difficult in terms of traffic at the moment. It's not the safest road, so really welcome the new crossings and the segregated cycle routes. Hopefully that will encourage new people to try cycling as a way of getting to work and promote active travel through the city. So welcome to the report.
I think we've seen, Jack, from lockdown onwards, more people have ever started cycling, walking, exploring districts, so the much we can do to support them, I think the better.
Yeah. Okay, can we agree then? Item 8, injection funding into the council's capital programme there in Wakefield Trinity.
Thank you, Leader. This is quite a formal report that will enable monies to be made available for Wakefield Trinity to develop their stadium, as we know it's a much loved asset to the Wakefield city. And will support what we're trying to do through the Resilience Fund and through investment directly from Wakefield Trinity. So this report seeks Cabinet approval to add £8.8 million, which the Council will receive from Section 106 payment in relation to the planning permission granted for the development of New Market Way to the capital programme. The 106 will be used the 106 will be used as part of the overall funding package to secure the redevelopment of the Bellevue Stadium alongside finance provided by Wakefield Trinity and the Council as part of our resilience fund, and full details are shown in this report. This simple, straightforward report allowing us to do this will finally allow Wakefield Trinity to move on and develop a site which is much needed and much required. Thank you.
Thanks for that. I think we've waited a long time for this to come. Perhaps some of us thought we'd never see it. So let's just hope now that this is the final end and that Wakefield Trinity will get a new stadium and we cannot move on, close our books on this matter.
It's a game of two parts.
Yeah. Any comment? Michael?
Just to second what you just said, Denise, I think when I first became a councillor, this was one of the massive issues on the doorstep. Everybody wanted a new stadium. We've got thousands of fans right across the district. And I'll give me fingers crossed. I think it's been a rollercoaster journey. I've only been there for the tail end of it. That's been quite a span. So fingers crossed. I think this will be absolutely amazing for the community, not just for rugby fans. And I really want to see it happen. So thank you, Dan, and thank you, Denise, for bringing it.
Okay, can we agree with the recommendation? And Michelle, the diversity inclusion objective.
Yeah, thank you. I'm delighted and very proud to present to you the Council provides a set of equality, diversity and inclusion objectives and associated action plan today. Our corporate plan that we brought previously, Building a Better Future, sets out a commitment to promoting fairness and equality for all, and this report further expands on the work that we plan to do to promote equality, diversity and inclusion in our work. Wakefield Council is committed to expanding opportunities for all, irrespective of background or situation, and working to end inequality, discrimination and marginalisation. The population and makeup of the district is challenging, it's changing and will continue to change, and as a council, we need to understand those changes and to promote the benefits of diversity. Our aim is to make equality and diversity part of everything that we do, to be an inclusive council, delivering accessible services and developing the workforce. As such, we need to see that equality, diversity and inclusion is inherent in our organisational values and behaviours. As noted in section 4 of this report, page 41, we have a number of statutory duties under the Equality Act 2010 and the Public Sector Equality Duty, and we do continue to meet these. But what we want is to not just be fulfilling these statutory obligations, because that's not enough. EDI should be a tick box exercise, and this report shows that our ambition as a council is well beyond that. This report sets out our ambitions and objectives clearly, and we want equality, diversity and inclusion to be integral and embedded in all our decision making and all our day-to-day work as a council. The objectives are set out in section 3 on page 40 of the report. These objectives have shaped the development of an EDI action plan attached to Appendix A to embed EDI across the council, as well as take forward initiatives to further recognise diversity, promote equality and inclusion, and to tackle inequality and marginalisation. The plan sets out a series of initiatives and outcomes against each EDI objective that will be delivered over the next 2 years. Cabinet is further asked to endorse the delivery of external awareness sessions with people from protected characteristic groups and partners, including the voluntary and community sector, around the EDI action plan and objective. A strong focus on EDI will support us to understand the needs of our residents and to utilise our resources effectively, targeting services where they're needed. We should all want a Wakefield district that values and works for everyone who lives, works or visits here, and where no one feels isolated, ignored or threatened because of their ethnicity, sexual orientation, gender, faith, age or disability. This report reaffirms our commitment to being a council that serves and values everyone, and I look forward to reporting progress on our EDI actions and making this district an example in terms of recognising and valuing diversity and living equality and inclusion, and I hope that we'll all support this.
Thanks very much, Michelle. It's a fantastic report and something we've been waiting for a while, so it's great that you've been able to bring that to us today. Right, Jackie.
Hi. In some senses, I think so I group would been sort of ahead of the game as champion for DI in the group. I'd like to say I would really welcome these moves and hope to be useful in their future development.
Yeah, just really welcome this report, Michelle. I think everyone around this table and beyond agrees that we need equality, diversity right across the piece. And I think this month's Pride Month, and we see a lot of businesses sort of waving flags and making LGBT sandwiches, but there's nothing quite behind any of that. There's nothing there. And I think although reports can be, you know, not the most entertaining of things, all the work that sits behind this, from yourself as cabinet member, from the HR department, from our equality champion Jackie, it's just fantastic, and I'm confident there's lots of going into it and that will have good results in the end. So thanks for giving us a lead.
Thanks, Denise. Yeah, just following what Michael said as well, I really welcome that in this we're looking at our contracting and procurement and ensuring that the people we deal with have high standards when it comes to EDI. I think there's a lot of organisations try and have these principles, as Michael said, but then actually a bit hypocritical and don't deal with it when they're procuring other services from wider organisations. So I think it's good that we're using this as an opportunity to try and influence the district and businesses in the area to be more diverse and equal as well. So thank you, Michelle.
Okay, can we agree then? Thanks very much, Michelle. Item 10 is the revenue outcome report for 21-22. Excuse me. This report informs Cabinet of the national outcome for the position for 21-22 revenue budget. Prior to the audit of the accounts, the outcome.
So item 10 is the revenue outturn report for 21-22, and this report informs Cabinet of the outturn position for the revenue budget. Prior to the audit of the accounts, the outturn position is an underspend of 0.9 million after transfers to and from reserves, which is an improved position from the report that went to Cabinet in April. Table 1 on agenda, page 61, shows the position by directorate, with further information provided in section 3.3, and the financial dashboards are in appendix 1. On page 69, the report also provides information on the school's budget and dedicated schools grants, with information on council reserves at page 71 and in appendix 2. On agenda page 75, the report then sets out some emerging budget pressures for the current financial year, with potential pressures of some 8.7 million, reflecting the high levels of inflation and increasing demand for services. And we've asked officers to report back to Cabinet in September to mitigate some of these emerging financial pressures. The recommendations on agenda page 60 are for Cabinet to note the final outturn position for the revenue budget for this financial year, to approve the appropriations to and from reserves in 21-22, as summarised in appendix 2, to note the use of capital receipts, as shown in section 3.7, to note the position in respect to debt write-offs in 21-22, as shown in section 3.8, and to note the emerging budget challenges for 22-23, as detailed in section 3.9 of the report, and then also to task officers to report back to Cabinet in September on the mitigations that will be put in place to manage some of these potential budget pressures. Can we agree with that report? Are you happy to know that? Any questions? Agenda item 11 is the capital programme outturn for 21-22, found on pages 93 to 107. And this report informs Cabinet of the programme outturn position for the 21-22 financial year. The Council's capital spend in 21-22 was 62 million, which is set out in more detail on Table 2 of agenda page 94. Table 2 also shows how capital spend was funded, with 34 million funded by a combination of grant funding contributions and capital receipts, and 28 million funded by prudential borrowing. The Council's capital spend really makes a difference right across this district, and just a few of the key projects that it's helping to fund are shown on agenda pages 94 and 95, with a more comprehensive list of projects at appendix 1. The recommendation for Cabinet is on agenda page 93, which is to note the final outturn position of the capital programme for the financial year. Neil, do you have any comments on?
Okay, you've covered it, thank you.
Thank you. Any questions from the colleagues? Michael?
Just to make the point, Jack, I think we've got lots and lots planned in the capital programme, really exciting things that are going to make big differences across the piece, and I can't wait to see them come to fruition. But it's just to sort of make the point that, and I know everyone's sick and tired of hearing it, but over the last, well over a decade now, we've had cut after cut to our budget in this council, and now with the cost of things rising, I just hope the government are making that connection that everything is costing us way more money to produce, and the gist of it is we're not going to be able to do as much with the money we've got, and I just feel as though we're being hammered from one side, hammered from another side, and it's the residents of Wakefield that will suffer in the long run. So I hope they're looking at this and that they put something in place to help us.
I think you're absolutely right, Michael. It's deeply worrying that despite all the budget cuts we've had and the rising pressures, government doesn't seem to be wanting to do more to help struggling local councils. So we can but hope that more funding will be forthcoming. Agenda item 12, we've got Mr. Broad to agree that one. Agenda item 12, we've got the Children Young People's Plan for 22 to 25. Right?
Yeah, okay, thank you. The purpose of this report is for Cabinet to consider Nedros Children and People's Plan for 2022 to 2025. The previous plan was coming to an end in 2022, and the priorities for that plan were best starting life, early help for families and right help at the right time, and inclusive education for emotional and mental well-being. When we set out for this new plan, it was important to us that we included the voice of the young people, and they have been instrumental in setting up this plan. They've come forward with a new set of priorities, which are our identity, our safety, our futures, our health, and our education. And I think it was important that they came forward with these, because they the people that actually having to go through it. But it will be the driver going forward for the Children and Young People Directorate. So I'm bringing this here because I'm wanting Cabinet to note and endorse the new Children and Young People's Plan 2022 to 2025. It is at Appendix A, and agree that this report and accompanying plan progress to full council in June 2022. And also to note that the Children and Young People's Partnership will drive forward action and activity to deliver the plan. The Children and Young People's Overview and Scrutiny Committee will provide a monitoring and scrutiny. And I hope you all enjoy reading the new plan. As you see, it's invigorating, I think, instead of the usual stuff, yeah. So that's good. Having it.
Thank you, Maggie. Any questions or comments on that report?
Yeah, I just like to say how much of a lovely read it is, Margaret, and you know, even to look at it, it's really pleasing rather than the generic reports. I think looking at the priorities and taking the ones from the young people is so vital, and that we've got them here in such a sort of graphic way is so good, because their experiences and lived experience now is so different to which any of us had, and there's such more pressure, and I think it's super important we're doing such a good job of it, so well done to you and everybody.
Any further comments or questions?
I'd just like to welcome this plan and say how accessible it is in the format that's been presented, and I really enjoyed reading it. As a member of the Scrutiny Committee, to say how much hard work has gone into this, and you know the success it's about, and building upon the work that you've already done. So I really welcome it. Thank you.
We look here to agree the report. And the last item on the agenda is Councillor Byford, disposal of council and sites at Kirgate for affordable housing.
Thank you, Jack. This report is to seek Cabinet approval to dispose of some land, which is very visible land, council owns on Kirgate, to a registered provider to deliver approximately 48 new affordable homes at less than best consideration. Now what that means in reality is that as a council, we have a really good aspiration to improve the gateway into the city centre of the South West. And to do that, we acquired some land, and we acquired some buildings which have now been moved. We are wishing to, and we are championing the building of some new affordable housing on that site. And this land was acquired around 4 years ago. using some local growth funding, some wicker funding and some of our own capital funding. And it's done to remove that blight, that horrible building that was on Kirkgate that was spoiling the entrance to that part of town. But that funding came with an obligation, and that obligation was that the houses had to be built by the end of March 2025. And that's what this plan allows us to do. And that's an important thing because it meets one of our obligations, which has been led and championed by the leader, which is to build our own new homes, working with partners to ensure that high quality, affordable homes for the residents of our district. The full details are set out on page 124 of section 4.1, and with that, I move this report.
Thank you, Darren. Any questions or comments on the report?
I'm independent of that, and I welcome this report because it is one of the main entrances into the city, and it's great that we're actually going to redevelop it. There were some really ugly buildings down there, and when you drive in, it's good going to have it actually. It looks much better now, as it is, but to provide the sort of housing we need as well is excellent.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic that we've actually seen this come to fruition. Something that we've all wanted to do, and it's really happening, so thanks Dave.
Yeah, I mean, the housing crisis just goes on and on and on. We all know 20,000 people plus on WDH's housing list. The fact that government's tried to move legislation forward, let other housing providers right to buy anything and give 40 other families an home in this fantastic city. It's got to be a plus for us. So thank you, Darren. I'm really excited about the scheme.
Thank you. Okay, that concludes the meeting. Thank you all.